Gliding and swimming through those shots. Getting, oh my goodness! You know, she's telling us because she needs to be. Oh, another foot in the middle again from Shields. This is where we see that the fight, but she's also in there with a singular generational talent in Claressa Shields, who is all over her right now. To look for openings, style a little bit here in round 8. There's a body shot from Shields, and another one. No knockout, but Claressa Shields plays the hits here in Motown.
The queen of boxing just dropped a massive bombshell that has the entire MMA world shaking. Clarissa Shields, the undisputed boxing champion, has sent a direct message that puts Dakota Ditcheva's PFL throne in serious danger. And Dakota's response? Let's just say she's not backing down. This is about to get explosive. Clarissa Shields about her move to MMA, Dakota Ditcheva's brutal response, and what this potential super fight could mean for the PFL. Trust me, this is the fight everyone is talking about right now. Let's dive in.
When you're back over here,
Clarissa Shields just sent shockwaves through the MMA community with her latest statement. And when I say bombshell, I mean bombshell. Listen to what she said. I've done everything in boxing. I just really wanted to see what could I do in my career that can make me be more of the greatest of all time. Like, how can you solidify it? And I've done everything in boxing. So for me, I was like, you know what? What about MMA?
I've done everything in boxing. I just really wanted to see what could I do in my career that can make me be more of the GOAT, more of the greatest of all time. Like, how can you solidify it? And I've done everything in boxing. So for me, I was like, you know what? What about MMA?
Now, for those who don't know, Clarissa Shields isn't just any boxer. This woman is the most accomplished female boxer in history. We're talking multiple weight world champion, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, undisputed champion. She's beaten everyone in boxing.
go.
She's fought legends like Savannah and Marcela Corno and absolutely dominated them. She's cleaned out boxing, and now she's looking for new challenges in MMA. And here's the thing, she's not just talking. Clarissa has already made her PFL debut and won in dominant fashion. This isn't a publicity stunt. She's serious about conquering MMA just like she conquered boxing. Now, when Clarissa made this announcement, all eyes immediately turned to Dakota Ditcheva, the undefeated PFL rising star, and the woman everyone believes is the future of the division. And Dakota? She didn't hold back. Here's what she said. Right. So, 2 125ers. I mean, she's doing unbelievable things in boxing, and I would 100% if that came to me. I would definitely take that. I mean, I'm not sure who they're going to put her with. She's had a little bit of MMA experience before as well. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see what they do with that super fight.
So 125ers, I mean, she's doing unbelievable things in boxing. And I would 100%, if that come to me, I would definitely take that. I mean, I'm not sure who they're going to put her with. She's had a little bit of MMA experience before as well. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see what they do with that super fight.
Now, let me break this down for you because Dakota's response is actually more savage than it sounds. First, she acknowledges Clarissa's boxing credentials, showing respect where respect is due. But then comes the key part. I would 100% take that fight. That's not fear. That's confidence. That's a champion saying, bring it on. And it didn't stop there. Dakota took to Twitter and sent her own message to Clarissa. The tension is building, and fight fans are absolutely eating this up. Okay, so let's talk about what would actually happen if these two stepped into the cage together, because this is one of the most fascinating style matchups we could possibly see. On one side, you have Clarissa Shields with world-class boxing that's sharper and cleaner than almost anyone Dakota has faced, lightning-fast punches with perfect timing, a jab and counter right hand that can shut down anyone's offense. If this fight stays in pure boxing range, Dakota would be in deep trouble. But here's where it gets interesting. Dakota Ditcheva brings a complete MMA striking arsenal, kicks, knees, elbows from every angle. Devastating clinch work that Clarissa isn't used to, defending dangerous knees to the body and elbows to the head. Superior takedown defense and developing grappling skills. An 11-to-1 Muay Thai background with aggressive forward pressure. And here's the thing that could change everything. Dakota has more weapons. The moment this fight leaves boxing range and enters MMA territory with kicks, knees, clinches, and potential grappling, the entire dynamic shifts in Dakota's favor. Let's be real here. If this fight stays standing in pure boxing range, Clarissa Shields has the advantage. Her boxing is simply on another level.
Yes. Oh!
But, and this is a big but, this is MMA, not boxing. And Dakota has more experience inside the cage, more tools to work with, and the ability to take this fight into territories where Clarissa hasn't fully developed yet. In a full MMA fight, Dakota likely wins by late TKO or dominant decision. Why? Because she has more weapons at her disposal, better understanding of MMA range and distance superior clinch work, the ability to mix in takedowns if needed. Clarissa is dangerous, absolutely, but Dakota is complete as an MMA fighter. But here's what makes this so exciting. Clarissa Shields is a proven champion who has conquered every challenge put in front of her. Can she do it again in MMA? That's what makes this potential super fight so compelling. So there you have it. Fight fans, Clarissa Shields has thrown down the gauntlet by entering the PFL and making it clear she wants to become the greatest of all time in combat sports. Dakota Ditcheva has responded with confidence and is ready to defend her position as the future of the division.
I'm a workhorse. I train very, very hard. And I love people. I love meeting new people no matter where I'm at. If they want a picture, they want an autograph, they want a hug, I'm like, hey, what's up? But people don't really get that interpretation of me from me being a fighter. It's like I'm very, very nice to a fault, though. If you're mean to me, I'll be mean to you.
Whether this fight happens next month or next year, one thing is absolutely certain. The MMA world will be watching. This is the kind of crossover super fight that could break records and create history.
Let's go.
If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more explosive MMA news, fight analysis, and drama, make sure to smash that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. We're bringing you the most exciting stories and matchups from the world of combat sports every single day. The fight game is heating up, and you'll want to be here for what's coming next. Thanks for watching, fight fans. I'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned, because the next bombshell might be even bigger than this one.
Here we go! Oh, punch into the back of the head. That's illegal. You can't punch in the back of the head. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, it's still in data. Of course he's in a fight. It's still in data. What the fuck is that true?
I didn't do anything. I got arrested. I say you want to get arrested. I didn't do anything.
UFC 322, held this past Saturday, November 15, 2025, will be remembered not just for Islam Makhachev's incredible achievement of becoming a two-division champion, but for an explosive brawl between Dillon Danis and Makhachev's team that has now resulted in one of the most severe punishments in UFC history. UFC CEO Dana White has issued a lifetime ban to controversial fighter Dillon Danis following a violent brawl at UFC 322. Dana White's message is clear. You will never see Dillon Danis at a UFC fight ever again.
Told me right before I walked out for the main card that Dillon Danis was here and he was moving around sitting in fighter seats and not sitting in his own seat that he had. He had a ticket. And they said, do you want us to throw him out of here? And I said, he has a ticket? And I said, yeah. And, you know, they told me, they said, Masvidal said he's going to fuck him up on sight. And I said, well, where's Masvidal sitting? He said, well, he's 6 or 7 rows away from Masvidal. I said, well, if the guy has a ticket, let him sit in his seat and let him do what he's doing and keep an eye on him. And as soon as it broke out, I was over on the other side and I go, I know exactly what that is. I knew it. And, yeah, you will never see Dillon Danis at a UFC fight ever again.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Let's start with what happened inside the octagon. In the main event of UFC 322, Islam Makhachev faced off against former welterweight title holder Jack Della Maddalena in what was supposed to be the story of the night, and what a performance it was. Makhachev dominated across 5 rounds, showcasing superior grappling and striking control. The Russian fighter secured takedowns at will, neutralized Della Maddalena's power shots, and earned a clear unanimous decision victory.
Go welterweight championship.
One of the things, right? Islam.
Not at all. You can only take so much.
Bit more pause ever since.
Oh, that was hurting.
Oh. When he successfully defended his lightweight belt. Fight IQ at an all-time.
Right leg is so beat up that even when they're standing, he's not able to attack as much as he may want to.
I don't think he can move it correctly. That's why he's throwing a lot of kicks with it. Because I don't think he can stand on it right.
He's like grimacing.
Yes. One challenges now
Yes.
at 170, and he has a chance now to create a completely new legacy.
Yeah.
On top of what he's already done, becoming the greatest lightweight of all time.
With this win, Islam Makhachev achieved something only a handful of fighters in UFC history have accomplished. He became a two-division champion. This places him in an elite category alongside legends like Daniel Cormier, Amanda Nunes, and his mentor's rival, Conor McGregor. But as we'll see, Makhachev's historic achievement would soon be overshadowed by chaos in the crowd.
Guys, Paul Mouston, 22 winning streak, Jack, 18 winning streak, Charles Oliveira, 11 winning streak. Coach! 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 Let's go! Let's go with your chicken. That's number 1 easy weight, lightweight division. Ironman. Coach!
Now here's where things went completely off the rails. Just moments before the main card was set to begin, a violent altercation broke out at Madison Square Garden, and at the center of it, former Bellator fighter and social media personality Dillon Danis. For those unfamiliar, Dillon Danis is a 32-year-old MMA fighter and Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner who rose to prominence as Conor McGregor's training partner. He's become better known in recent years for his controversial behavior on social media than for his fighting career.
Training partner for his next fight to make history and win 2 belts. So I'm here helping Conor and training, I'm here for him, like I have his back, as I said, and he has my back. So whenever he needs me, I'm there, and if I need him, he's there for me. So
223, but he's a big boy. The boy is an animal. When the boy switches it on, he switches it on. So.
According to multiple reports and viral footage, Danis was spotted moving around the arena, sitting in seats designated for fighters rather than his assigned seat. This brought him into close proximity with members of Islam Makhachev's team, specifically Abubakar Nurmagomedov and Magomed Zainukov, who you might know as the social media personality John Pork. And then, punches started flying. Witnesses describe absolute chaos. Chairs were displaced. Spectators scrambled for safety. Videos show Danis trading blows with multiple members of Makhachev's camp as security desperately tried to restore order. It took multiple security personnel and police officers to separate the fighters and escort Danis out of Madison Square Garden entirely. The timing couldn't have been worse. This erupted just as millions of viewers worldwide were tuning in for the main card. But why did this happen? What sparked this confrontation? Throughout Fight Week, Danis had been posting inflammatory content on social media, targeting Islam Makhachev and his team. These weren't just trash talk. They were personal attacks that seemed designed to provoke a reaction.
Remember me to say dojo? Salam alaikum, brother. How are you? Good. Alhamdulillah. John Paul. Yo! This guy, I know he is, but it's like, oh, fight. You're not all right? Are you okay?
This isn't just about not being able to buy tickets to UFC events. This ban means Dillon Danis will never fight in the UFC octagon, never corner a fighter, never attend as a media or a guest. The door has been slammed shut, welded, and buried in concrete. But here's what makes this story even more remarkable. Dana White did something we rarely see from him. He took full responsibility. I blame myself for that, actually. I could have prevented this tonight, and I messed up.
I blame myself for that, actually. They came back and told me right before I walked out for the main card that Dillon Danis was here and he was moving around sitting in fighter seats and not sitting in his own seat that he had. He had a ticket. And they said, do you want us to throw him out of here? And I said, he has a ticket? And I said, yeah. And, you know, they told me, they said, Masvidal said he's going to fuck him up on sight. And I said, well, where's Masvidal sitting? He said, well, he's 6 or 7 rows away from Masvidal. I said, well, if the guy has a ticket, let him sit in his seat and let him do what he's doing and keep an eye on him. It never even crossed my mind, as stupid as this could be, that the entire Muslim Brotherhood was here tonight in the first 5 rows for Islam. And as soon as it broke out, I was over on the other side and I go, fuck, I know exactly what that is. And I could have prevented this tonight, and I messed up.
White revealed that his security team had warned him about Danis moving around the arena. They even told him that fighter Jorge Masvidal had threatened to confront Danis on site. But White made a decision he now regrets. White explained, they said he's 6 or 7 rows away from Masvidal. I said, well, if the guy has a ticket, let him sit in his seat and let him do what he's doing and keep an eye on him.
Muslim Brotherhood was here tonight in the first 5 rows for Islam. And as soon as it broke out, I was over on the other side and I go, fuck.
But here's the critical oversight White admitted. It never even crossed my mind that the entire Muslim Brotherhood was here tonight in the first 5 rows for Islam. As soon as it broke out, I was like, I know exactly what that is.
I know exactly what that is. I knew it. And yeah. You will never see Dillon Danis at a UFC fight ever again.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's wanted badly to come in this company, and he said you guys don't want to sign him because he makes too much trouble. I guess, point made.
The UFC CEO acknowledged that he should have realized Danis's presence near Makhachev's large support group, all seated in the front rows for their teammates' championship fight, was a recipe for disaster. When asked if he wanted to press charges, White declined, saying simply, "This is the fight business, man."
We're not pressing charges. I'm not speaking for MSG or...
Your family is rich, right? Like, because you built a $2 million gym in your house. You just won the belt. How could you have that much money?
Because I do stuff as part of the UFC. I do many things.
When I first saw you, I thought you looked rich. You gotta look rich a little bit, but like now,
No.
damn champ. Because normally when we become champion, we get a lot of money, you know.
Yeah.
But you got money. You've been the champ for 10 years. You got John Jones money.
Everybody know what you need. Just money. That's it.
Right.
You don't need nothing. Just money. Everybody know why you come.
You say that on.
Hey, how much?
You got pay-per-view money now.
I don't care about money. You
You
know,
rich
but I have rich guys. If I need money, I ask him.
Who?
Habib?
Habib?
Of course.
Habib's that rich guy, huh? Habib's that rich guy.
Still rich.
Islam Makhachev, Ilia Topuria, and the entire UFC lightweight division just dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming. They're done, they're out, and Dana White is scrambling. That was Dana White, talking tough about fighter pay. But those words just came back to haunt him in the biggest way possible. You don't like the way we pay our fighters? Too fucking bad. Go start another MMA organization and figure it out yourself. We run a business. We've been very good at it.
You don't like the way we pay our fighters? Too fucking bad. Go start another MMA organization and you go fucking figure out how to do it. And you can pay them $10 million a fight, $30 million a fight, whatever you want to do. We run a business. We've been very good at it.
Events are being canceled. Fight cards are collapsing. And in a desperate move, Dana just fired back on Twitter with a message that's making everything worse. What just happened? How did we get here? And what does this mean for the future of the UFC? Let me break it down for you. This is going to get intense. November 2025. Fight cards are collapsing. Social media exploded with news that seemed impossible to believe. The entire UFC lightweight division, one of the deepest, most talented weight classes in all of combat sports, just walked away from the organization.
Well, right now in particular, there's probably less money because the fighters have to, there's no gate.
There's no live gate.
Yeah, there's no live gate. And that's an extreme amount of money. But there's also fighters that agreed to certain deals. They agreed to like an 8-fight deal at X amount per fight. And then they become more popular, and then they want to renegotiate their deal. Yeah. And the UFC is like, look, we're just trying to stay open.
Yep. But they're like
you can take it or you can leave it, but this is what it is.
We're not talking about 1 or 2 fighters having contract disputes. We're talking about Islam Makhachev, the pound-for-pound king, Ilia Topuria, the undefeated rising star Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway, everyone. What the hell just happened? Here's what we know. According to multiple sources close to the situation, Dana White made a decision that fighters are calling the final straw. He implemented sweeping salary cuts across the lightweight division, cuts that some fighters say could make it financially impossible to continue competing.
Some people are wondering if you would ever consider moving away from the show win model and maybe doing like flat purses across the...
Listen, man, this business has worked just fine. The model isn't broken. You know, I love when people who have no idea what they're talking about and don't know anything about the business give input.
But this wasn't just about money. This was about respect. This was about years of frustration finally boiling over. And this was about fighters realizing that together, they had the power to make Dana White listen. The timeline is shocking. On November 12th, fighters began receiving updated contract terms showing reduced guaranteed purses and restructured bonus incentives. By November 14th, group chats among lightweight fighters were buzzing with the same message. We're not taking this.
When you come in here on a Tuesday night, you have to make me say, I have to have this guy or girl in the UFC. You can be as talented as they come. This is your one shot, your one night. This sheet is all I know about you. I don't read any of this before. I walk in when the fights happen, I see it. You show me tonight who you are. None of this means to me. This means nothing to me. It's great. You're obviously here. You got great records. You've done great things. Show me tonight. On Tuesdays, it's your night to show me who you are and what you got. Make me say yes.
For years, UFC fighters have been operating on razor-thin margins. Training camps for elite fighters can cost anywhere from $30,000 to $100,000 when you factor in coaches, sparring partners, nutritionists, travel, and medical expenses. Now imagine you're a ranked lightweight fighter. You're getting paid maybe $80,000 to show up and $80,000 if you win. Sounds decent, right? But here's the reality. After taxes, management fees, gym costs, and that expensive training camp, You might walk away with $20,000 to $30,000 if you win, and if you lose, you could actually lose money fighting in the UFC.
The names we know, are they really getting money?
Izzy, $7 million, I think is what Izzy is making now. Wow. Khabib made probably 10. Conor makes 20 base, 15, 20 base.
And this is just a walk into the ring.
When you walk into the ring, you get paid. And guess when you get paid?
In the locker room, right?
In the locker room. You walk back, and they give you a check, 3, 4 million, 5 million. Whatever it is, like they give it to you in the back.
When Dana White's cuts came down, several fighters reported that their guaranteed show money dropped by 15 to 25%. When bonuses were slashed, performance incentive structures were completely redesigned. But here's what made this different from every other fighter pay complaint in UFC history. This time, they didn't just complain, they organized. The lightweight division, historically the most competitive and cutthroat weight class, did something unprecedented. They unified. Top contenders, mid-level fighters, even prospects on their first UFC contracts. They all agreed. No one signs a bout agreement until the cuts are reversed.
Do you have a plan where you want to retire, or you are just enjoying and you love what you're doing?
Yeah, I just enjoy it. I don't think about retiring. No. If Dana White quits, I might quit. It's actually in my contract.
No.
Yeah, if he leaves, I leave. Yeah, so in my contract, if he leaves, I don't have to stay.
And that changed everything. Now, you'd think that with an entire division refusing to fight and multiple pay-per-view events in jeopardy, Dana White might take a moment to, I don't know, negotiate, compromise, show some diplomacy? Yeah, that didn't happen. Instead, Dana took to Twitter, and what he posted made the situation infinitely worse. To all the lightweights crying about pay, remember, you chose this career. Nobody forced you to be a fighter. If you don't like it, there's the door. We'll find fighters who actually want to be here. This is business. Always has been. Always will be.
If the fighters want to tell them what they get paid, they can. But you notice none of the fighters ever do tell them what they get paid? They don't tell them anything.
You provide health insurance, all their training.
Supplements, physical therapy, all that stuff. Everything's free here. So we have a performance institute here. We have one in China. We're opening one right now in Mexico City. We're opening one in Abu Dhabi. And then next year or the year after, I want to open one in Africa.
Crazy, man.
The response was immediate, and it was brutal. But it wasn't just fighters. Fans turned on Dana too. Comments flooded in. You made $1.4 billion last year and you're telling fighters there's the door? Without fighters, you have no business, Dana. This is the most tone-deaf thing I've ever seen. Dana's attempt at projecting strength backfired spectacularly. Within hours, he deleted the tweet, but the damage was done. Screenshots had spread everywhere. The message was clear. Dana White wasn't backing down, and neither were the fighters.
I think that would be a flat-out no. Who wants to pay to see Tyron Woodley fight again? He is an absolute physical specimen. The guy could have finished that fight at any time he wanted to, but, he didn't want to take the risks. You take no risks, you get no rewards.
And that's when things got really complicated. By mid-November, the UFC faced a problem it had never dealt with before. An entire division, its most marketable division, was refusing to compete, and the consequences were piling up fast. UFC 323, scheduled for December at Madison Square Garden, lost 3 main card fights. UFC 324 in January is now in jeopardy. The entire 2026 schedule, built around lightweight title eliminators and contender matchups, is collapsing.
I had a great day. Just about to take off here from Washington, D.C. We had the meeting at the White House. Could not have gone better. This is going to be awesome. White House fight is on. The White House fight is on. I will have more details on that in the next couple weeks. But we got it done today.
Matchmakers scrambled to fill cards with fighters from other weight classes. But here's the problem. Lightweight is the heart of the UFC. It's where the most exciting fights happen. It's where the biggest stars emerge. You can't just replace it. Behind the scenes, UFC executives tried to break the fighters' unity. They offered individual deals to top-ranked athletes, restored bonuses, partial reversals of the cuts, but the division held firm.
And they also said for this special event, they would love to see the bonuses raised from $50,000. Can we do something special for this Saturday?
What did you say?
Both guys want bonuses raised from $50K for this special card. Can we make this happen?
What should it be raised to?
3 times.
100,000.
300. Go 3 times.
300.
300.
300. It's done.
Let's go.
Let's go. stop asking me questions.
Featherweights began asking questions. Bantamweights started comparing notes. Even heavyweights, traditionally the least unified weight class, started talking about what leverage they might have. The UFC's crisis wasn't just about one division anymore. It was about the entire power structure of the organization. For the first time in UFC history, fighters realized that collective action could actually work. So where does this leave us? As of now, the standoff continues. The lightweight division hasn't budged. Dana White hasn't publicly addressed the situation beyond that deleted tweet, and the UFC is hemorrhaging credibility with every passing day.
I'm not doing this again. I'm not going to be at a press conference and say 200, 300. Never again. You can thank everybody on this card for that. Nobody fought any harder. There was no sense of urgency. 7 straight decisions. The 100,000 was a real big woohoo. Let's get it, boys. That never again.
But here's what's really at stake. This isn't just about money anymore. This is about whether fighters will ever have a real voice in how the UFC operates. For years, fighters have talked about unionization, about collective bargaining, about getting a fair share of the revenues they generate, but it always seemed impossible. The UFC was too powerful, Dana was too ruthless, the fighters were too divided.
The answer is no.
Dana, earlier this week, you scheduled Arman Tsarukyan to fight Dan Hooker in November.
Yeah.
And will the winner of that fight become the #1 contender in the lightweight division?
You don't like the way we pay our fighters? Too fucking bad. Go start another MMA organization and you go fucking figure out how to do it. And you can pay them $10 million a fight, $30 million a fight, whatever you want to do. We run a business. We've been very good at it. Not only do we run the business, we continue to grow the sport and take everybody along with us. You're either fucking good enough to be here or you're not. This is the big leagues. It's like the NFL. You can either last here or you can't last here. But people get paid.
Paddy Pimblett and the entire middleweight division have just dropped a massive bombshell message to Dana White after devastating salary cuts. And Dana's response on Twitter? Well, you're not going to believe this. Let's start with the bombshell that has the MMA world on fire. Multiple UFC fighters, including rising star Paddy Pimblett, have come forward with a stunning admission. I'm getting less now for the UFC than I did for some of my cage fights. I took a pay cut for this fight.
I'm getting less now for the UFC than I did for some of my cage warriors fights.
Smart.
I've took a pay cut.
Let that sink in. Fighters are taking pay cuts to compete in what's supposed to be the premier organization in mixed martial arts. This isn't some random complaint. This is a pattern that's been exposed through years of legal battles and internal documents. Here's where it gets really disturbing. According to a 2013 internal study that the UFC commissioned themselves, costing them between $45,000 and $50,000, UFC fighters receive just 18.6% of total revenue.
How would you like it if you flew to the other side of the world to do your job and then your company charged you a bunch of fees and the government took half your money? Behind me is a breakdown of John McDessie's pay from the UFC after he fought in Australia. Up here is where he was charged by the UFC for his medicals and for his airfare. And then down here over my shoulder is where the Australian government took 45% of his earnings because he's a foreign athlete. This is a tough way to make a living, as John McDessie just showed us.
The UFC's 18.6%? It's not just lower. It's in a completely different stratosphere. And not in a good way. Now let me break down the brutal reality that entry-level UFC fighters face. And trust me, this math will shock you. A new UFC fighter gets paid $12,000 just to show up. Another $12,000 if they win.
First check of UFC, how much you make?
I think my first pro fight, I made like 800, which is a lot for a first pro fight. You get into the UFC on the Contender Series, 5,000 to show, 5,000 to win. Once you get signed to UFC, pretty much everyone starts out of the same contract, 10 and 10. And a lot of people's contract goes up by like 2,000 each fight. So my first fight, I think I made 20,000, 20 and 20 in my second fight. So I made 40,000, plus I got a $50,000 fight in the night bonus. And that was when I broke my foot. Broke my foot in the third round. Was hopping on one foot for 3 minutes. It ended up being like 97,500. Made 6 figures-ish.
So, on paper, $24,000 for winning sounds decent, right? Wrong. Here's what actually happens. Starting amount, $24,000 minus manager fees, 10 to 20%, minus 2,400 to 4,800 coaches and training team, 10 to 15%, minus 2,400 to 3,600 federal and state taxes, 25 to 30%, minus 6,000 to 7,200 training camp costs, minus 20,000 to 50,000 travel expenses, medical costs not covered by UFC basic living expenses during training,